Hello, this is Katie again, and this is day 2 of a video every day in May. And I'm going to be using, for making a card, the Lawn Fawn Hey There set. I've already pulled the sentiment I'll be using. So I have a card base. I'm going to put it's going to be kind of like a farmy scene, obviously. This as the sky background. I'm going to put the whole, cover the whole background in it. So that is going to be 5.5 by 4.25. And I usually just kind of go over the line just to cover myself and make sure that it will fit. And then I'm actually going to need these at, I'm just going to trim off the end where it comes off in the paper pack so I don't have that. And then I'm going to trim it to 4.5. We're going to be using that. And then also a piece of the yellow. I think I'm only going to need about an inch. That is not the right side. Okay. About an inch, and then at 4.25 as well. So we'll just get that trimming out of the way. Okay, so then I'm going to be, again, sticking the blue down to the card base with lots of adhesive. I have all my animals and images from the stamp set. I have them stamped with Memento Tuxedo black and die cut out already because I would rather show you the coloring process. I need to pay more attention when I'm sticking these down. Show you the coloring process, then showing you me cutting those out. So it wasn't quite long enough. There's a little white strip down there, but the yellow is going to be down there anyway. So we'll go ahead and do this part now. And that's just going to go right along the bottom. Okay. And then we can do the green part now. I'm trying to find a place to set my tape gun because I don't have a lot of space. So I'm going to start the green there, but I'm going to make a kind of a grassy hillside. So the first one, we're going to have to send it through the Big Shot. And I have the grassy, I don't actually know what they're called, but they're the Lawn Fawn ones that are kind of, you know, rounded grass as opposed to the straight one. And there's 3 that are different. So I will just take one of them. I have no preference. And then I'm going to just take off a little bit. How do these go through? They're too wide for the Sizzix. All right, I'm going to trim the grass down a little bit. I'm going to trim the paper and I'm going to have to send it through vertically. So I will do that. So now I'm going to send it through going this way because the die is too wide to be sent through the other way, which is fine. My other grass die cut, the straight one, has never cut well horizontally. It only cuts when I send it through like this, so I'm sure that makes sense. So we have one to start with here that's gonna go right there to to start it, and then there will be another one behind it. So we'll just pick another different grassy dye. And then this one can go through just fine. So this one will be tucked behind it, and it's just going to be a little bit taller. So I think I'll make that one just the rest of the cardstock, the green cardstock. I'm using the green and the yellow with the little like plus signs in the background from the Spring Fling paper pad from Fawn. So then there's my other piece. We will work on that next. And then I'm using a blue, not the teal blue, but the blue, Spiffy Speckles background for the sky. Because I like that for the sky, and I just don't feel like ink blending any backgrounds the past couple days. They get very messy, and I did buy gloves. I just got normal gloves for that because I just get way too messy, and I also use these when I'm cleaning my stamps off too, because I get ink all over my fingers and I don't like it. So okay, so the idea is to, hopefully this isn't too tall, is to put that there and then kind of put this one up. So I think I'm gonna trim this longer one a little bit, but I want it to line up at the bottom, so I'm going to make it straight. So then if I do that, we'll trim it a little bit more. Okay, that should be good. So I want to lift the second one up on foam, but I wanted to leave enough sky in the background as well. We'll do that in a second. I do have the happy birthday from the whole herd mounted up, so we will just stamp that in my memento tuxedo black. Okay. All right, and then I will use the tape gun for the taller grass, just to stick that straight to the card. And then we'll use foam tape on this one so we get a little bit of dimension. Okay, that works. I'll stick the rest of that back on the roll. Okay, so I'll just put that, make sure it at least covers the other one. Okay, so that'll be our dimension on the card there. And then this is down here. I'm trying to think of something to put maybe on either side. Let's see. We'll just use the little heart from the set and just stamp it in black. Maybe I'll color it in red. It should cover the yellow paper. So one there. And one there. I have some reds in front of me for coloring other things, so I'll just use R27 and color that in. Okay, so that will be the card base. I'm going to set this aside so that I can get into coloring. So I'm going to zoom in. I have a couple different video settings on my phone, and the one I've been using has been throwing odd glitches into the video. I don't know in the last video if you watched it, if you noticed. I noticed it watching it just on my phone, and then after I uploaded it, it was still happening. So I switched to a different one. Hopefully this one is just as good visual quality, but doesn't glitch, hopefully. We will start with the goat here. I'm going to color in. I'm using E57 just to get his horns, his hooves, and his horns. I'm not going to blend for this one. I'll be doing blending on the rest of him. And then I'm going to start with E35. He's going to be a little bit lighter of a goat. Okay. And then E34, which is toast. This might be a little too close to E35, but that's okay. And I can also use the lightest one to go from the base again and blend it out. And I'm going to be using E53 for the rest of him. Oops. Again, I already die cut these out, so they're a little hard to hold still while I'm coloring. I don't want to muddle it up too much. I do want to leave some of the blending. I think in general I tend to overblend and I kind of lose the idea I'm going for. I'm going to take the E35 again and kind of maybe blend out and then use that E53 just around his nose. And then the E57 I used on his hooves and his little horns there. I'll just put a little bit there, and then I'm going to take the colorless blender. We'll be using a few times. I'm going to borrow an E29. Just to give him a little bit of color there. All right, so that is the goat. And then for our horse, for his hair, I'm going to start with E29 that I just borrowed for the goat. For his mane and his tail. And then E37 to blend that out. Oops, went over a little bit. just a little two color blending. I don't want to get too complicated. For the bigger areas like their bodies, I'll be doing a little bit more. So for his body, I'll be using E35, so the same one I started with on the goat. But I'll be blending into different colors than the goat. So E35, and then E33, which is sand. And then E34. So we use Toast, that lighter one, to blend out the rest. Please not out of the picture, sorry about that. Oh, I didn't do, let's see, that was E33. I didn't catch his face. And then back again to Toast. And then I'm going to use, I think W9. I'll be using this on the cow. But I'm going to use W9 just to fill in his hooves. And then for his face, I'll just give him a little bit of kind of color here. And then we'll, with a C2 gray, and then kind of blend that out. And right where I put a little bit of brown on that section. And then I'm just going to do his ears with E35. Okay, so he is done. I'll be adding cheeks to these guys as well. So I have a barn and 4 fences. I'll be using C3. C2 is just a little too light. And then blending out with the colorless blender. So just giving them a little bit of gray color, not too specific or detailed, because I'm just going to take this and blend that out anyway. I should probably soon get a refill for the colorless blender. I saw one, I believe, somewhere, because it's obviously not just, I don't know, alcohol, I guess. There's probably a lot more to it, so maybe don't just fill your colorless blender with straight rubbing alcohol. So this really helps soften the gray and kind of just turn it into almost like shadowy. as if the fence is still white. Okay, so those should be good. And then for the barn, I have 3 reds. I have R29, R27, and R35. So I'm going to start with R29 and just kind of go, I'll go around the door. And then blend a little bit with our 27. And then I actually have YR24 and E51 for the hay, so I'm going to do that part now and just kind of fill in the rest with E51. So then for the last red, R35, and just take those sides and blend them out. I think I will do the same inside the barn door, but I'm going to use the same technique, the C3, blend it out for the roof and the outline of the door. Sorry if I'm not finishing the red coloring first. I also don't want to mess with the red I've already done. So then R27 and R35. I'm taking quite a bit of time to color. I'm not sure how long my phone will give me to record. So I'm going to use the colorless blender since I just poked a little bit of red onto the white. Just use that to get that off. All right, so there is the barn. And then we have a cow. I'm going to use, I mentioned in my last video, I don't really like to color over black lines with a black Copic, but I'm going to use a little bit of black and then W9, and I tested the blend on a scrap piece of paper, so I'm hoping it works out. And I'll just do his little hooves in the black. And then take the W9 and blend out his spots. And that should look just fine. Not too dark, and the W9 gives it kind of a close to black feel. And then So again, I'm going to use C3 and kind of go around a color in. I'm going to use C5 actually and make these a little darker. I will use YR24, that kind of hay color, for his tail. And then the C3, kind of in the shadowy places. And then use the colorless blender to blend out around those. So just for the sake of time, I'm going to pause while I finish blending this part out here, and then we will do the piggy next. Okay, so I blended out the cow a little bit more, and then I did the chicken. I think this is just a bigger chicken. I have 2 little chicks as well. In just a little bit of lining of C2 and blended out with a colorless blender, and then R29 red for his little head, and I used YR04 for his beak and his feet. The beaks and the feet on these ducks, little chicks, sorry, not ducks, will be YR04 as well. And the yellows I picked out for them are actually kind of a darker Y35 yellow. I don't use a whole lot. And then Y13, which is a lot lighter, to blend them out. I almost grabbed Y11, which is even lighter, but this one I thought would be a good combo. And I'm sorry, I already die cut these, so they're very little to hold on to. All right, so I have the little chick family, and then the last guy is the pig, and then we need to put together the card. So I picked a combo I have not used before because I haven't colored pigs. Or if I have, it was a very long time ago. So I'm going to start with YR02, which is more on like the orange spectrum. YR02 and E95 are kind of above the oranges, and then I'm using E02, which is more with the pinks. So it'll be interesting to see how this blends. I did not test this out first, but it looks like a very piggy color. So then I have E95, which almost looks like it's darker, but on my chart it's supposed to be lighter. Yeah, no, that's correct. We'll see how the lightest color blends out. Okay, and then E02, which is more on the pink spectrum, to kind of blend those out. And then I'll just do his hooves, the lightest color. I'll give his nose a little darker from the E95, and then blend his nose out again. Okay, so then I'm going to put them together onto our card base. I'm trying to think about, I'm going to pause and kind of work with this a little bit, and then I'll put it together with you. I'll be right back. Okay, so I thought I didn't have room for the fences, but I think I want to put them there. So I'll probably pause while I stick all this down just for the sake of time. This is getting very long. And then there was too much space up here, so I actually used one of the set of 3 of the Lawn Fawn cloud stitch borders. I'll probably put those on a magnet sheet with my new grassy borders that I got. So I'm going to stick this down too, and I will be right back. Okay, so I put that all together, and I'm just going to add their cheeks. I'm going to do it a little bit differently than my last video. I did these and then trimmed off the sides, so that worked out. And then just stuck them down with glue, and then maybe put some foam behind them if they needed support. And then I put the cloud down. So I'm going to give everyone their cheeks. Is his cheeks going to be here? Probably. And then instead of 3 dots, which I had done in, is that a horse cheek? Probably. Previous video, let's zoom in a little bit. I'm going to do just one above it. I've seen this way as well. It is also very cute. Just do little dots on the little chickies. It's a little bit different when it's white on a white background, but oh, that works. And then I'm gonna do this, and then I think just some white accents. Hopefully I don't go crazy with them. And then we'll do I think I'm smearing everyone's cheeks, unfortunately. I'll fill that back in. And then okay, so I'll give the cow one, this is what I'd mentioned before, is going over the lines. It just looks very convincing, I guess. Okay, so that should be it for the card. I will back out, and hopefully my phone did not turn this into 2 files. And sorry this was so long, but thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.